I haven't been stitching every day or even close to it, and I guess I have to be okay with that because there's no other way to be. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. It is September 13th, 2022, and it's been a rough week. Earlier this week, I asked you guys if you try to stitch every day or as close to it as you can, and most of you said that you stitch every day or try to. In a perfect world, I would like to stitch most days. I'm not on team I must stitch every day and make time no matter what, because I have a family. I have people I love spending time with. There are lots of days when you're just not going to stitch, but I'd like to stitch more than I've been stitching lately. I don't stitch up in my sewing room. We moved into this house. It had a great sewing room, but I had young children, and I stitch in a corner in the living room. I quilt in a corner in the dining room. I do work on my projects in the thick of things. And I love it when I can slip out to the sewing room, but I want to be where my kids are and know what everybody's doing. My focus project, Morning Lake, is not holding my focus. I finally sat down to stitch on it last night, and I looked at all the confetti that I have to fill in, and I was almost squirming with distress at the idea of stitching confetti right now. So I did a little bit of yellow half cross stitches to fill in some highlights in the water, and then I put it down because I just couldn't. And there's no reason to force myself to do it. There are days when confetti sounds like the most fun little challenge ever. This can wait for one of those days. It will not hurt anything if it waits for one of those days. The little bit of stitching time that I have had since my last Flosstube update, I finished the Bob Ross. Anything we don't like, we'll turn it into a happy little tree. I am so tickled by this. It was fun to stitch. And if I'm going to dump my other projects and spend 3 or 4 days stitching something that I am having fun with and I am making progress on it, I'm not going to talk myself out of that. I think I might finish this into a journal cover or something like that, but I'm never in a hurry to FFO things. And I also did a tiny little bit of stitching on 1776 Salt Box. I added some bunting last night after I decided that I could not handle the confetti of the dark lakeside cabin. Like I said, it has been not the most pleasant of weeks. I don't know if our public safety power shutoffs here in Oregon made the news. We are right on the boundary of where they predicted the shutoffs to be. And so I prepped as if the power was going to go out. It didn't, and if it had, we can do a couple days without power. It is an inconvenience, not a crisis. Not with how our house is set up. We can handle it. I just would rather not. But everybody in our small town was going a little bit nuts, either pro or against the power outages. It was predicted that the gas stations would be shut down. I stayed home. I just stayed away from all of it, and that worked out well for me. I think it is absolutely possible to be distressed that your power is out and at the same time understand that it might have been a necessary thing to do. And we've really all got to stop playing the blame game. When they tell you that it is the 2nd year anniversary of those horrible wildfires, and the wildfire risk is really, really high, and it's going to be upwards of 100 degrees, and they're going to cut your power, yeah, I understand why people were stressed. The other thing that totally eclipsed the power outages isn't my story to tell, but we're down one car. Wasn't our fault. And please, if you have teenagers or young 20-somethings who are driving, make sure they know what to do if they're in an accident, and make sure they know that if the other driver is threatening to kill them, that it is a really good idea to lock themselves in their car and just call 911 and let the nice deputy sheriff take care of it. The car is toast. The people are okay. It's just not a good time to be looking for a replacement car. I did have a happy thing. I I had a couple errands to run today during one of my rare days with a car. And that little boy said, "You should stop at the thrift store. There might be something at the thrift store." So I stopped. And they had some kits. I did a YouTube short showing you the kits they had. One of the things they had was this. If you see that Dimensions Gold Petite packaging, you know I jump. But it was the plastic in the picture and nothing else. That is not useful. But a little bit later, I did some digging and I found the floss. This wedding sampler, let me dig and scrabble a little more here. This wedding sampler has ribbon. There's ribbon in this bag. So I am like almost 100% sure this bag goes with that thing. And then I dug through all the rest of the kits they had, because that is what you do. I found the pattern. I found the fabric. The pieces of this kit were scattered in 3 different portions, but I got them all together and I now have a Dimensions Gold Petite wedding sampler. I don't want to stitch another wedding sampler, but I love Dimensions Gold Collection Petites, so for 99 cents, I did not leave it behind. And I stopped at the Dollar Tree because I am playing the game with our TV remote where every time you want to change channels, you have to pop the batteries in and out again. And I decided to break down and get batteries. I needed a set of tweezers, so while I was looking for those, I found these. It's got a pair of nail clippers and it's got a pair of scissors, and these are little black matte sharp pointed scissors. They are not the best scissors ever. They are not as sharp as the ones that I've got from the quilt shop. They're a heck of a lot cuter. And they're a little stiff, but they cut thread, and I thought for doing little Halloween fobs or having an extra pair of scissors to stuff in your project bag, these are a little more grown-up looking than the blunt tip safety scissors that I usually haul around. So I got myself 2 pairs of these. They come in a 2-pack with a pair of scissors and a pair of nail clippers, and 3 sons. My nail clippers vanish. They evaporate. So having more nail clippers is never ever going to be a problem. And that's about it. Like I said, there has not been as much stitching as I would like this week. I don't know that I need to be a stitching everyday person. I need to be maybe a couple days a week. I have time to stitch for a couple hours until I decide I've stitched enough. That might be what I need these days. I used to, when I first started stitching and the kids were little, I stitched every day at nap time. I stitched a lot. The past few years, I have not had the hours available to stitch that I used to. And it is what it is. Things will shift and change again. I was going to say that I would rather they shifted soon, but sometimes having a lot of time to stitch is because other really horrible things have happened. So let's not jinx ourselves by hoping for that. Maybe I'll just work on trying to schedule my time more efficiently so I have more time to stitch. Let me know, have you been stitching? Is your power on? I'm Michelle, this is my romantic tangle, and I'm still reeling from events of earlier, so I think I might stitch some bunting tonight if I stitch anything at all. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with you with more videos soon.